Breaking right now, an extraordinary row has broken out between the Band-Aid creator Bob Geldof and one of Britain's top pop stars, Ed Sheeran, who has said that he is unhappy with his inclusion on the 40th anniversary edition of the charity single, Do They Know It's Christmas? This is a really hard one for me to get my head around, to be honest. But it does show you that the woke mind virus now attacks anything. Even if you are a lefty raising money, not just raising a bit of money, by the way, raising tens of millions of pounds for Africa relief efforts. The song 10 years ago was for Ebola specifically. But these days, according to Ed Sheeran, it makes you a white saviour. It does show, by the way, how much the world has changed over the past 10 years. In my old life, which was in the entertainment industry, I was actually at the recording of Band-Aid 30, and it was brilliant. It was such a positive thing. And I can't see how anyone could say that it is a negative force for the world. But this has mainly been sparked by a rapper called Fuse ODG, who Ed Sheeran cited in his decision to turn on Band-Aid and launch this public response. Here is Fuse explaining why he feels this way in an interview with Nick Ferrari on LBC.
What should the future of Band-Aid be now?
I think he needs to. It's been 40 years.
Yeah.
Right?
40 years on the 25th.
For any business person, after 40 years, you have. And if you're not seeing results, because I haven't seen any results, if I'm being honest, like, he needs to relook at the model.
You don't think it's done good?
I think it's done more bad than good.
Band-Aid has done more bad than good,
More
Fuse.
bad than good because.
It's raised tens of millions of pounds.
And it's also cost us in trillions.
How has it cost you in trillions?
So, okay,
How has it cost Africa in
I'll
trillions?
give one example.
Please, yeah.
I'll give one example.
Yeah.
Because of the image, the negative images that's been portrayed of the continent, Africa is seen as a high-risk profile. And as a result of that, we get high interest rate on our sovereign debts. Right? It's costing us 3.2 billion every year.
Oh, please. Now, Ed Sheeran, in his statement, said my approval wasn't sought on this new Band-Aid 40 release, and had I had the chance, I would have respectfully declined the use of my vocals. A decade on, and my understanding of the narrative associated with this has changed, eloquently explained by Fuse ODG. This is just my personal stance. I'm hoping it's a forward-looking one. Love to all. But Bob Geldof, he ain't happy. He ain't happy at all. He's actually issued a challenge today via the mail to Ed Sheeran to speak about this politely, but he earlier told the Sunday Times, this little pop song has kept millions of people alive. Why would Band-Aid scrap feeding thousands of children dependent on us for a meal? Why not keep doing that? Because of an abstract wealthy world argument, regardless of its legitimacy. No abstract theory, regardless of how sincerely held, should impede or distract from that hideous, concrete, real-world reality. Now, it's not often, actually, that I agree with Bob Geldof, but in this case, I really do. And I also agree with Tony Hadley. Now, Tony Hadley, do you remember him from Spandau Ballet fame? He was actually on the original 1984 version, and he's old school. He hasn't been infiltrated by the woke mind virus. And do you know what his response was to Ed Sheeran? He said, I think they should just shut up, to be honest. If you take that route, then nobody does anything to help anybody. It's just nonsense. Everybody's doing their bit to try and support various charities, and we were doing our bit innocently to support what was happening in Ethiopia. So, look, I don't agree with Bob Geldof on a lot. Let me bring my superstar panel back now. Charlie Bentley Astor, Russell Quirke. Russell, this just shows you, doesn't it? As a white person, what can you do? If you support Africa, you have a white saviour complex. You shouldn't get involved. If you don't, you're a big-time racist. This is so depressing to me.
Yeah, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And as you say, it's not very often that any of us probably agree with Bob Geldof. But this Fuse ODG guy that seems to have this thing in his head that, you know, charity is a bad thing. I think he called it in one interview dehumanizing to be given
Yes, he did.
giving money to Africa. And let's just be very, very clear about Africa. Africa is full of developing, not developed nations. Africa and all of its countries, obviously Africa being a continent, but most of the countries within Africa, financially, economically, are on their knees, either because they're badly run, predominantly by corrupt dictators, or because they're racked with drought, famine, and so on. So you would think actually that someone that comes from Ghana, which Fuse ODG apparently does, would actually be quite grateful. He's not showing much gratitude here, but Fuse and others are also the people, ironically, I suspect, that are pushing for, encouraging, and supportive of slavery reparations. So it seems to me that slavery reparations are okay when they go that way, but when it's a different kind of money, which is charity, that it's not okay. One tranche of money is demeaning, apparently, and dehumanizing, but slavery reparations are somehow justified. I mean, this is absolute hypocritical, abject nonsense from people that clearly don't know what they're talking about. And I'm obviously the biggest advocate of freedom of speech, as we all are on this show right now. But Fuse ODG needs to wind his neck in. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
The thing is, he can say it, but we can very strongly disagree. And what I find so fascinating is that Nick Ferrari, who I like very much, a presenter on LBC, I watched the whole interview. He's too terrified because you get cancelled now if you challenge this sort of narrative. Fuse ODG was spouting absolute rubbish. Of course, Band-Aid hasn't cost... What's that? Sorry, Russell?
I'd love to interview Fuse ODG.
Me too. Me too. Go on this show. Charlie Bentley Astor, you're younger than us. Do you think there's any argument for this? Because it often does, it feels like there's a bit of a generational divide here. The young pop stars are very anti-Band-Aid now. The older ones think it was a good thing. But first, we've been told our whole lives that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Now, one doctor says that's nothing but old news. So this is according to John Lake, who is the world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert. And he says that most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. So he says they hardly make a dent on your appearance, and some can even be harmful to your skin. Recently, Dr. Lake has focused his attention away from mainstream cosmetic practices. Why? So he can pursue a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough, one that some experts say could empty the wallets of the cosmetic industry. He says it's almost like Photoshop for your face. You may even be mad after seeing how easy it is to visibly erase your wrinkles from view. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method because it can take years or even decades off your appearance in under 2 minutes. In light of this amazing breakthrough, Dr. Lake has released a step-by-step video to the public. It's free, it's uninterrupted, and he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. Dr. Lake says if this helps even one person look younger or feel more confident, he'll be thrilled knowing he helped. The video has since gone viral, not surprisingly actually. At first it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then it's racked up over 2.3 million views and counting. So far the comments and feedback have been outstanding, with thousands of women reporting they look decades younger. One viewer even commented, "Best results of anything I've used. I can't believe how well this works. I'll never stop using this. I don't understand how it works, but the results are great. Thank you." So you can find out more about this yourself right now. Just go to bhmd1.com/outspoken or click on the link which is in the description box below. So let me repeat, bhmd1.com/outspoken. There is one thing Dr. Lake does ask from his viewers, though. If watching this video helps you look and feel younger than you have in years, then please share this video with your friends and loved ones. Together, we have the power to help as many women reclaim a youthful look as possible. So go watch the video at bhmd1.com/outspoken right now, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
Yeah, the young ones don't think it's a good thing because they weren't there. My generation in particular has never known real hardship. We've never been, we weren't around in the 70s and 80s, and most of us not in the 90s either. And so I actually haven't seen anything. I mean, we used to have a lot of poverty in this country, in the extreme edges of it, but we just don't see it anymore in the same way. And these young people just are being taught that regardless of your sort of intellectual credentials, if you have a certain skin tone, you are the ultimate authority for all Black people if you are the one Black person speaking in the room. And it's so insidious because you can't critique. And of course, when Ed Sheeran repeats what this rapper says, he's not had a single independent thought in making that declaration. Kudos to Geldof, because actually that was a very articulate statement, and it speaks to someone who's go on.
No, sorry, he wants to have the discussion. He's sort of doing that thing of, well, this is good because we're having the discussion about it, whereas I actually just feel sorry for Geldof on this front. I really do. And also, Russell, I feel sorry for white people who try and support charitable causes now, because it's very risky if you're doing anything in a country that is non-white, and it's just going to put people off getting involved at all because you're immediately cancelled and called a white saviour.
Well, I mean, yes, I suppose, but let's just put this into context. Ed Sheeran and Fuse ODG are not the oracle. They are not carte blanche, slam dunk, the authority on whether we in this country think that we should be donating to Band-Aid or Oxfam or other similar organisations. I mean, the fact that they want to politicise this and, on the one hand, demand money, as I say, through slavery reparations, but on the other hand, not demand or not have or countenance another kind of money. I mean, it's just ludicrous. It's just nonsense. The other thing I don't understand, though, Dan, is that this Band-Aid 40, I mean, first of all, it's not a new song, by the way. So this Band-Aid 40 release is a mashup of the songs that were released back in 89 and then, and 84, 89 and onwards. So not much effort's been put into this. There's no new artist, there's no new singing on it. But also, in an age of streaming, someone needs to explain to me how, when this goes out on Spotify, how any money is made from it. Because in the old days, you'd make money from it.
Well, yeah, no, it's, I mean, yeah, you make a much smaller amount of money. But the thing is, because Band-Aid is part of the Christmas compilations, I know quite a lot about this because of my old life. Do you know these Christmas songs make so much money because from this time of year to December 25th, basically all of the streaming is Christmas songs. That's where a lot of artists are. So you'll see a lot of artists release a Christmas song because it's their ticket to wealth. I mean, Mariah Carey could have retired in 1991 after the release of All I Want for Christmas Is You because she just makes so much money from the streaming. So people will still be streaming the Band-Aid songs and all the versions will still be making money. I mean, would Fuse ODG say, take it off the streaming services? That's what's so extraordinary about this. I presume he would. And the reason, Russell, and I think this is so sad, the reason that there is no 40th anniversary version, because there was the 30th, there was the 20th, is because no artists would want to take part today because none of them want to risk their reputation. Sad, but true.
Very sad indeed. How pathetic.
Yeah, it is pathetic. It is pathetic. But you two are not pathetic. It's been so brilliant to have your company today on the Superstar panel. Charlie Bentley Astor, first time here on Outspoken, but you can follow her and her original journalism on Substack. And Russell Quirke is the host of Straight Talk on his own YouTube channel. So brilliant to have you both here today. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.